significant time ends up being lost over the last 5 to 10K. So you've just got to limit that damage, and he's been able to do that. But if it happens at all, even over a kilometer or two, it can cost you the record. So we're talking razor thin margins, but he's hanging on tough.
Yeah, that 1840 5K from 90 to 95K, bringing it back down after a 19 plus was very impressive. I think that
it's hard to fathom what he's Yeah, Tony, it's hard to fathom what he's going through, and the ability to kind of take a breath and back off and then get back on the throttle. Again, I said it before, but the distinction between a world-class athlete and everyone else is are things like that. Having the ability mentally and physically to do those sorts of things, to rally like that. Again, I think that's what we're witnessing right now, and it's going to be close, but it's hard not to turn into a fan at this point.
No, I fully understand that. I mean, the point is that this guy shows his cards very forthrightly. You know he's struggling. We saw this in 2019 in Sacramento, where he was pushed to the very limit, and he only broke that 50-mile world record by 40 seconds or so. So that was a very good record. And now he's going the extra 12 miles. You got to realize in 2019, his next 10K after the 50-mile world record was 80 minutes. He jogged 80 minutes to go 10K. That's how much effort he had poured into the 50 miles. Those extra 12 miles are the big test. And so far, so good. 9 minutes and 20 seconds to the world record.
Yeah, in 2019, when after the 50-mile mark, if you recall, he crossed over the Guy West Bridge, and right after the bridge was the water stop, and he stopped there, of course, for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes or so, and he ended up starting to walk. He got about 100 meters, and then he actually did a U-turn, and he walked back to the water stop, and he spent another about 10 minutes there before we said, hey, you still have a lap and a half to go to finish this thing off. So it was a rough next 10K.
He's looking at his watch. Kerry, what you're doing, and Mike, you've done it as well. You're not counting up, you're counting down. And we can see the countdown clock in red to the world record. The count up clock is 6 hours and 35 seconds. But the bottom line is how much time do I have left to run?
Exactly. And you know what? He's been running for 6 hours, but 8 minutes takes forever.
Right.
I mean,
way to go, Elov.
I love these shots of looking at Jim from the side. We've said it, but what a beautiful runner.
No, exactly. After
he's
6
not
hours?
even faltering, and it's 6 hours in, Tony. I mean, he looks great. Yeah, we can pick apart and really nitpick a little things, like he's, staying in the air a little longer, which Julie knows him better than anybody. But he's so efficient.
And I would tell you, having
face.
Yep.
I've run this section of the course a few times, and I could tell you, just as you had asked Tony earlier about, rolling, and there is a little bit of a downhill section that he's going to hit, actually, that he'll hit this just as he approaches the racetrack, and then the racetrack actually drops another, I'd say, 10 feet over that section before he hits the final flat portion of the drag strip. So I would tell you right now, he's actually going to have a little bit of downhill here leading to the finish, which should help him.
Well, yeah, it takes a little less self-propulsion. We used to have a section of a road in Boston we used to run on, and it just elevated your hips perfectly. When the downhill was a slight downgrade, it just elevated your hips, and it made it perfect for you to just spin that pavement beneath you. And Jim is looking like he's doing just that. Eric's sitting right in front of him.
You're right. Come on.
He just got that smart car right in front of him, and he's just locked onto that thing, and it's just dragging him forward. He said, I've worked too long, too many years, too many hours. I've put myself in the position. Here I am on the cusp of history, and all I've got to do is run for another 6 minutes and 45 seconds.
Think of every mountain he's climbed, every track he's run around when he doesn't want to do it, and he still gets out there, and this is what it's all about right here.
Kerry, we opened the broadcast talking about how 2019 was intriguing, and that's the thing. People always say to us who don't run, they said, you got broadcast running events? What do you say? They're just running. I said, well, as it turns out, you can talk for 6-7 hours. You could talk for 7 hours about this thing if there's enough intrigue in the air. And somebody like Jim Walmsley makes it intriguing. Look at Michael Wardian, break it. One of the great ultra runners in America.
Come on, Jim.
And Mike was another one that wanted to be here. Mike, big shout out to you. You know, Mike had some performance problems this challenge that he had to get through, and he said, I wanted to be here. And Mike, he said, what can I do for you? I said, Mike, you just do your thing, because nobody is more prodigious about racing than Mike Wardian, but we would have loved to have you. And I would tell you, Jim right now is about to hit that downhill section.
6 minutes to the world record, less than 1 mile to go.
Jim, you don't got to go any faster.
And he still looks good. I mean, his arms have not come up. He's driving his arms, but that sign of fatigue when your arms start come up and you tighten up, that's not there. His knees are still high.
It's right there, Jim. It's right there.
He doesn't have to sprint. Look at it. He took a look over his right-hand shoulder. You know who that was? That was Steve Prefontaine's move right there. We're always looking left over, looking toward that finish line across the track. That's what Jim was just doing, across the lake, looking to the finish, looking to where we are. 5 minutes to the world record.
It's right there, Jim. It's right there.
But you know,
look at him. He's just yelling at himself. Bringing everything he was born with, everything his parents taught him, everything he was coached. Eric, 5 minutes to the world record. What do you think?
Yeah, he's less than 5 minutes from the finish now. It's going to be close, guys, but he's still, as you were noting, just is looking smooth. And we talked about patience at the start of this broadcast. Jim ran patient by staying with that pack in the beginning. I think everybody else was working harder. He was working at the right level. And as I said from the start, that could be rewarded with as much as a world record. I think we're about to see that right now. We're going to come to the home stretch. He's about to tie into this final stretch of concrete. And a long way out. And hopefully there's enough people at the finish that they can make some noise and he'll hear it. But expect to see him in just within another minute or two on this final stretch.
Now, Eric, did you see he did that little downhill? It's going to kind of swoop him. It's almost like an indoor track on the 200. You come around the bank, and it swoops you down that front stretch, and it sort of increases your speed a little bit. Like you were telling him, though, he doesn't have to do anything more than he's doing right now. Just hold on. Just maintain. Less than 4 minutes to the world record.
And the challenging thing here is when he hits this final straightaway, he still has more than a half mile to go. So it's going to be very close right now.
So he's just got to keep moving. As soon as he sees this finish line, I think that's going to help his spirits. And we're just 30 seconds, 40 seconds from making that turn.
Just a monumental effort.
Keep running.
Just a monumental effort. Look at it. He veered off to the left a little bit. You lose your coordination when you go into deep fatigue, Carrie. Well, no, it's easy to step off a track.
It is, and every little step that you take that isn't perfect, like going up on that white and red mark, it kind of jars him. He needs to just focus right now on getting himself to that finish line.
But you also, here's the turn, but you also lose your momentum. Every step that doesn't go plane exactly forward, you lose a little momentum, and you never get that back.
Yeah. He's so close, you guys. He's about 800 meters to go.
Less than 3 minutes to the world record, about 800 meters to go.
Get to the banner.
It's almost like you just want to take that watch off and throw it away.
That's what's keeping him going.
Every
Tony.
extraneous weight.
Keep your chin tucked down here, Jim. When that head goes back, it's tough to keep your body in check and your form in check. He's got this.
Look at it. 2:20 to a world record.
Come on, Jim. We're all for you. There's so many people cheering for you, Jim. You got this.
He's on one of the fastest stretches of road in America, where cars go over 300 miles an hour. And this guy's trying to hold on to sub 6 minute foot pace to get a world record at 100 kilometers. This last lap has been brutal.
Patience, like we've talked about. He was so patient. He tackled from 50K to 80K. He really stuck with it mentally, physically.
You got this. Go!
We all watch this guy day in and day out, whether he's sharing everything or not on Strava. He shows all the work he's put in. Come on, man.
At 60K, at 55K, he essentially had the lead. and he's been on his own for the last 40 kilometers. The last marathon of this race, he has been on his own. He's gone to the arms. 6 hours, 9 minutes, and 14 seconds is the world record. Jim Walmsley from Flagstaff, Arizona, a graduate of the Air Force Academy, is on the cusp of breaking the 100-kilometer world record at Hoka's Project Carbon X2. He's a small dot at the top of the screen. The clock relentlessly ticks down. The crowd that there is screaming its lungs out.
Go! Go, Jim, go! Jim, go! Go, left, go!
He's got 30 seconds left for a world record performance.
Swing your arms! Swing your arms!
It's going to his toes, Tony.
Everything he's
Come
got.
on, Jim, go! Go!
6:09:14 is the world record.
So close.
So close. What a monumental effort by Jim Walmsley. 6:09:25 unofficially. The second fastest 100 kilometers ever run. 11 seconds unofficially off the course record, off the world record. Needless to say, a new American record.
Wow. What an effort. One of the toughest guys you're ever going to see run right there in the history of the sport.
It's difficult to put into words.
It is. He's put so much into it. Ah.
6:09:14.
He hit a minute.